podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.
Never in doubt, never in doubt. Dynamo Kyiv won, Rangers won Champions League qualifier. It's going to be massively, I would imagine, now in our favour, heading towards the second leg at Hampden. A last-second Cyriel Dessers goal gives Philip Clement's team a 1-1 draw in Poland. And all yous were shouting for Danilo, I bet. I bet all yous were shouting for Danilo, and Big Dessers was a man to get us the point. Loads to discuss from tonight's game. I hope everybody watching is doing well. Hello to everybody watching. Hello to everybody in the comments. Please keep getting your comments in, and I will do my best to pick through and grab some and bring them up. I am joined by Stuart, AJ, and Ian. Gentlemen, hello, welcome along to the show. Look, might as well just get stuck in. I could do Stuart all the like, subscribe, follow on all the socials, links in description, and all that stuff. But I'm not going to do that. I just want to jump straight in. Your reaction, my friend, to what was at times nervy, difficult. It's always difficult away from home in Europe, no matter where you go. But in the end, we came away with the draw. So your reaction to tonight's game?
I think that's a great result. Anyway, absolutely delighted with it. I don't think a 1-0 defeat would have been all that bad. As you say, I think we'd spoken on pods in recent days where, we knew this was going to be a difficult game. They're clearly a decent side. I think I'd mentioned that I wasn't quite sure whether or not the result from the last leg meant that they were really good or Partizan were really bad. I think it's probably somewhere in the middle. I think they are a decent outfit. I think you've seen that at times. But given where we are and given the issues that we know that we have at present, I thought overall it was a decent away performance in Europe. And I'm pretty sure there have been far better Rangers sides than this, who would have maybe have got a 1-1 draw away to Dynamo Kyiv, and I know it's in Poland, etc., but would have probably been given some compliments for that. So, I know there is a bit of negativity about there, but I think that we should have a wee bit of positivity about that result tonight, because I do believe it puts us in a very decent position going into the next leg. We would have 100% taken a 1-1 draw if that had been offered to us at the start of it. And the nature of it, that last kick of the ball, you've seen them at the end, they were kind of fighting with one another. That's an absolute kick in the balls to them. So a wee bit of positivity about the place. I think it's a very decent result for us, Martin.
It would be so easy, AJ, to be negative about loads of different aspects of our game. That would be the easy thing to do, to come on here and go, the passing at this point wasn't great. We let them through too easy. The defending looked a bit. There's loads of things that we could probably sit here and nitpick and be negative about. That seems to be the go-to thing right now, for whether it's podcasts, whether it's just guys in the pub, whether it's social media. I think sometimes, though, you just have to sit back and take the win when you can. And by the win, obviously,
Yeah, I think we're just in a bit of a negative space right now. The whole fan base, really, and that doesn't help. Plenty of chats tonight before going into the game had us defeated before we even started, but that might have been just after seeing Scott Wright in the lineup once again. It might have been the biggest problem there. But I guess the problem is a lot of negativity off the field just now, and that's just all piling on. And the fan base is just a negative place, essentially. But yeah, we got the result tonight. it doesn't matter how we got it. And I mean, first half, I didn't think we played great, but I thought it was quite better second half, all things considering. But at the end of the day, all we needed today was a result. And like Stuart said, it 1-0, I'd have been quite happy enough, to be honest. But happy is maybe not the word, but from what's seen from Kyiv tonight, after reading for last week about how many goals they're scoring, how well they're doing in the league, there's not much that scared me there. And I'm quite confident against them. I was going to say home, well, at Hampden. So yeah, we're in a negative place right now. We need to build a team. We do look like we're 2 steps back from where we started last year, but we'll take that result tonight and we'll go into the home leg.
It's not been a great pre-season, by any stretch of the imagination. We started the Hearts game with 10 players from last season. Only Connor Barron was the only new signing in the team. Similar again tonight. It's very much still a team that's evolving. It's very much still a team that the manager has said is nowhere near where he wants it to be. We opened up against Hearts with let's be real, let's be honest, a kind of depressing 0-0 draw for a wide variety of reasons. With 30 seconds to go, with 10 seconds to go, with 4 seconds to go tonight, this could have been such a different reaction. It could have been so much different in the comments. And like I said to Stuart, like I said to AJ, sometimes you just need to take a step back and look at the bigger picture and go away from home in Europe against a decent, not great, decent Ukrainian team in Dynamo Kyiv. Sometimes you just need to take a step back and go, do you know what? That's a good result.
It is a good result. And isn't it a bit strange how you look at it that 2 draws in consecutive games are taken in different contexts? I admit most of us were disappointed walking away from Saturday with that 0-0. And a lot of us are delighted to walk away with that 1-1 today. I mean, another level of opposition is completely different. Like you said, they are a decent team. They're not the best makeup of Dynamo Kyiv, but they have got some names in there as well. I actually got quite surprised by how many names they've got in their team. Most of them I can't pronounce. But it was... Yes, there's negative points. We've said that. But credit where credit's due, we never stopped. We didn't give up. We kept going. And there is absolutely nothing, no better feeling than a goal scored, not with 10, 7, 4, with 2 seconds to go. Because pretty much that ball goes in, game's done. Because there was no more action after that. So it's just, I'd like it to be better. Of course I would. I, even when we've won 6 or 7-0, there's still aspects of the game where I've gone, do you know what, we could still be better. But you can't take away that result. That is huge. That goal is huge. So let's just go back to Hampden, because we can score against this lot. And I think with our fans behind us and the bigger atmosphere, I think we might just be a lot better than what we were tonight. And it's another week down the line as well. So more time to get Clement's ideas into their head.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I try to put as much positivity on life right now as a Rangers supporter as you possibly can. I think we're all trying to do that, to be brutally honest. Lockeye of you, thank you so much for the super chat, helping to support the channel. Thank you very much. Stuart, I'll take this to you. I think we are beginning to see a pattern of play. I maybe want to argue that. Sure, we weren't outstanding tonight. However, there has been an improvement since Saturday. The improvement being, Stuart, that we went up against a team away from home in Europe and we got a result and we showed resilience. Has there been... Do you see more of a pattern of play from this Rangers team?
Not quite yet. I thought there were first half, and it was just before they scored. I kind of put in our chat that I thought there was a glimmer of some a kind of concerted and organised press from us, and we actually kind of pinned them in for a period of time. Now, it didn't work all the time. I think they were trying to do it at times, and there was a guy that was maybe a yard, 2 yards off, and that has just allowed them to get out. But I thought there was maybe some signs of that. I still think that we would like to see a wee bit more in terms of that style. But again, I suppose that goes back to I'm still not convinced that the manager believes he's got the players on that field that can properly do the kind of style of play that he really, really wants. So again, another game he goes into where he's not got probably the two wingers that he wants, been able to start one because Cortez is out injured. Again, Czerny is clearly not fit enough to start. So again, you've got Scott Wright there. So I still think we're a wee while away from that. I would like to see a wee bit more. I do think there was an improvement and a step up from Saturday. I think my God, in the opening 2 minutes, we nearly had the same number of shots on target that we did for the whole game on Saturday. So there was an improvement in that way. There are still mistakes and basic mistakes, and I think that's the frustration. I'm sure we'll talk about the goal, but teams just don't really need to work hard at times to get chances or to score goals. So that needs to be sharp. Some of our passing kind of went astray, but I thought there were positives in that, and I would agree that there was definitely a step up in performance from Saturday. That's not me saying I'm happy with it. No, there is clearly, I think even with these players, there's still levels I would say that they can go up, but you've got to hope that quite a few of those players are nowhere near the starting 11 come the end of the transfer window.
I mean, Stuart, you mentioned it. So, AJ, the Kyiv goal is a goal that we have seen against us, I don't know how many times lately. I don't think, especially first half, Yilmaz was a mile off the pace. He was having an extremely poor game. I don't know if there's something in it that when Shefty came on in the second half, he seemed to improve a little. I don't know if maybe it had something to do with who was playing in front of him. But Yilmaz was poor, gives the ball away, and then our defence just purely doesn't react.
Yeah, he was honking tonight, to be honest. Yilmaz costing the goal there. And then second half, he was maybe a bit better with Jefty in front of him. And I thought Jefty looked really well when he came on. I mean, looks like our best left winger option just now is a left back. But the only problem is he doesn't look much east at left back either. So we're struggling big time, that department. I like Yilmaz as well. I thought the first couple of seasons never really got too much of a chance, and then I thought he came on again when he did. But it's another case of classic Rangers having fullbacks that are better maybe going forward than they are at defending. But he was totally in a world of his own for that goal, and in games like these, that can cost you big time. In games with so much money involved, you can't switch off like that.
No, you can't. And I don't want to just jump on the defence's back for it. And when you give the ball away in certain positions on the park, it's always going to be more difficult for your defence to be able to react in time. Just seems that we are really, really slow, no matter what the situation is with defence, in trying to recover a situation.
Yeah, I mean, you've got Yilmaz has got his part of the goal, but you go into the centre back positions as well. They didn't cover themselves with glory in that goal either. Yarmolenko, who is an aging forward player, I mean, great quality. You can't take away with the Yarmolenko's career, but John Suter just drops him and he just walks into the space. Suter was with him and then just stopped running, and Yarmolenko carried on. And that's another mistake there. I mean, Yilmaz shouldn't get beat. He's too slow to react, which is normally something he does. He does engage quick. That's what set him above Borna when Borna was there. That Yilmaz would engage the attacking player. But as you mentioned him, not by name, but mentioned the fact that he probably played better second half due to the who was in front of him. Scott Wright offered him no protection. So what does he do? Does he press the ball, or does he go with the runner? If you've got two choices to make, you're going to stick with the man who's already got the ball. So it's a combination of a lot of different errors that led to the goal. Yilmaz stands out because it's his position that gets found out. But Scott Wright, who, as far as I forgot at one point he was even on the pitch. I thought I might as well have not been there. And then Suter in the middle just drops Yarmolenko and he runs into the space and bang 1-0. So there's still things we need to work on. I think I'm hoping that Proper comes in and kind of solidifies some positions and starts leading that defence like the leader that he's supposed to be. But only time will tell on that one. But yeah, there's just a comedy of errors that led to that goal going in tonight.
I know, and again,
Martin, sorry, can I just come in on that? See that right-hand side in that first half? I thought, again, it's spot on in terms of Scott Wright. This should be the end. We shouldn't see Scott Wright again because, it's 2 games he started and done nothing, and then we've had to make a change. But the manager talked on Saturday about having the ability and players on the pitch to almost manage the game and recognise when things aren't going well. So on Saturday, it needed somebody to say, let's calm it down. Let's stop launching the ball and playing 60-yard pass. Let's get it down. Let's make some passes. Let's get ourselves into the game. At some point, somebody has to be saying in that game, right, Scott, right, you need to sit and offer Yilmaz some protection there. If Scott Wright can't recognise that himself, then somebody has to be doing that. And I think that's what we're badly missing within that side at the moment, is some people really leading and directing people across the pitch. Yilmaz makes a mistake. Barron, who again, by the way, I thought had a really, really strong game, probably goes to ground. Again, I think he'll look at that and think, can I stay in my feet and maybe influence it and then Suter. So there are more mistakes. But just as a general, they had an outball constantly on that right-hand side.
Yeah.
And it shouldn't, players should be able to deal with that rather than let's get to half-time, the manager makes a substitution, and all of a sudden, I think Hutton said it on commentary, I think we've seen their right back get forward once in the second half. It was completely nullified. So,
can I just interrupt and say that we're about to be joined by Wilf Marshall, who is in Poland. So I'm just sorry, I'll come back to you, Stuart. As I bring in Wilf. Wilf, how are you?
Evening, gents. How are we?
There we go. We can hear you. Wilf, I will not ask you for your reaction. I'll ask you about the atmosphere inside the ground tonight and the supporters round about you. Reaction during that game.
It was quite strange because it's probably the smallest Rangers support I've seen in Europe in a number of years. It was quite subdued. It was the usual bit of singing, not anything like it would normally be. It's very, very frustrating game, and I don't know what you guys have been saying before I decided to dive on and have a quick word with you. Everybody's screaming to get Dessers off because we just couldn't see where a goal was coming from, and then he popped up at the end with the equaliser. There was even cries for get Matondo down the middle if he won't bring on Danilo, just to try something different. But for me, I think you just touched on it there, Martin. The manager changed the game at half time with a substitution when he basically put a left back in left midfield, nullified. They were coming two down the left hand side the entire first half. I was doing my bits because of it. I was going absolutely mental because every single time Ridvan was getting caught with 2 coming on top of me, didn't know what to do. The manager sorted out at half time, so fair play to him for that. But we couldn't see where a goal was coming from in the stadium. I don't know what it was like at home, watching it at home, but in all honesty, I don't think we deserved to lose that game, so a draw is the least we deserved.
Yeah, and the support in general during the game, Wolf, there was a lot of people who weren't happy with certain substitutions in the second half. Obviously, Danilo left on the bench as well. I'd imagine round about you did say that there was clamour for Dessers to come off. Are they away Rangers support, I should say, are they happy with the manager at the moment?
There was one or two questions when we saw the team. There was one or two people querying even the team lineup. The fact that Properda wasn't starting again. The fact that Scott Wright was starting again. There was a few kind of queries. mean, bear in mind it's been quite hot over here today and a lot of drinks been taken, so people probably said some things that they'll regret in the morning, like, is he trying to work his ticket, is he trying to get himself sacked, or this sort of nonsense, you know what I mean? There was a few comments like that which are just ridiculous. But you know what it's like, Martin, we're all bipolar, we're all going nuts, getting into the game saying, like, as long as we're still in the tie, everybody was expecting to get beat by 2-3. Half time we said we'll be lucky to get out of here, still in the tie, and then we'll come away with a draw and everybody's bouncing up the road. It's just football fans, isn't it? You know what I mean? It's just the important thing is we're still in the tie, and they're not a good side. And the one question that everybody was asking coming out of that ground is how fucking bad are Partizan Belgrade?
That's a fair question. That is an absolute fair question. And I'll one more question, Wolf, before I let you go, and I'll get back to the guys. Obviously on the TV, it always looks much different to being at a game, right? We all know that. This Dynamo Kyiv team in person, they didn't look anywhere near what I think many of us expected them to look as we were watching on the TV, considering obviously they've just battered Partizan 9-2 on aggregate. How did they look in the stadium? And if you get any worries about next week?
My only worry about next week is we don't score the goals that will put them out, because they weren't great. I didn't think. I mean, the guy beside me with a couple of minutes ago said we should be embarrassed if they put us out, because they're not a good side. I mean, they had 2 or 3 chances, but Butland only had probably one save to make of any. You know, they're keeping 3 or 4 really, really good saves. You know, as I said, for a come on, I think a draw was the least we deserved. I was very, very disappointed in Dynamo Kyiv, but all I had to go on was the aggregate score in the last round. So we went into that saying, let's just make sure we're still in the tie. We're most certainly still in the tie. If we play as well as we did tonight and take our chances, we'll put them out next week, no bother.
Superb. Wolf, thanks very much.
Guys, enjoy your evening.
Right, speak soon.
Cheers. See you later. Bye.
Right, and we're back. My apologies, everybody. That was Wolf Marshall's fault. That was not our fault. It was absolutely Wolf Marshall's fault. So we are back. Ian, I would think we were just finishing off there by talking about the kind of first half and the performance in the first half. So I shall let you carry on.
Yeah, we just come past the goal when Stewart dove in regarding the right-hand side and Scott Wright and all the rest of it. That first half to me felt like a little bit of, at times it felt like, right, we've had a go. Now you have a go. And then we'll give the ball back to you and you have a go. And then we'll give it back to you and you have a go. Because I think McCausland really unlucky with a strike as well, coming off the post. That would have been a class goal. Would have made me change my T-shirt to go and put another one on that we talked about earlier on. But, I mean, the goal came from a mistake. And apart from maybe one or two, I mean, we had an offside one, which was, again, was a whole mishmash of mistakes here, there, and everywhere. The ball not getting cleared properly, people not heading the ball out where they should do, and it just going centrally. But other than that, it was fairly even, I thought. But they scored the goal, so they slightly edged it, I would say, in the first half. But the most important thing was to make sure that we knuckled down, carried on, and managed to either get a goal back before halftime, or at least not make it any worse. And we managed to get in 1-0 down at the very least, which was a positive in itself.
Yeah. There's loads of people in the comments saying sack Martin. It wasn't my fault. It was not my fault. It was Wolf Marshall who cut the pod off. But yeah, I mean, Stuart, actually, we probably should discuss that a wee bit. Ross McCausland came in to the starting lineup, and there's fans that want him in, there's other fans that have written him off, and there's other fans that are still 50-50 on him. I thought, especially in the first half, because he came off after 60 minutes, I thought there was a lot of positives there in terms of Ross's performance. Some nice passing. When he gets the ball, Stuart, and he goes direct, then he can be a threat. And he said that, like Ian said, going direct and so unlucky by hitting the post.
This episode is brought to you by our good friends at NFL Sunday Ticket on YouTube TV. I'm sure by now you've all gotten back into your Sunday routines, but they could be even better. With NFL Sunday Ticket and YouTube TV, you get the most live NFL games all in one place, every game, every Sunday. And you can even watch up to 4 different games at once with Multiview, one of my favorite inventions of this decade. It's exactly what you need to catch all the action. Make your Sundays more magical. And also, YouTube TV is great. I got it this year. It's awesome. Sign up now at youtube.com/BS. Device and content restrictions apply. Local and national games on YouTube TV. NFL Sunday Ticket for out-of-market games. Excludes digital-only games.
You've just taken the words right out my mouth in terms of, I thought he was really direct. I thought every time he got the ball, he looked to try and beat his man, or take somebody on. He was lively. I thought, and I think he really worked their left back. It's a great effort. Really, really, really unlucky, and that's what we want to see more of from him. A bit of an end product in that, and if he can also bring into his game, I still think at times McCausland, there's just a wee bit too much of him always coming inside on his left foot. If he can try and mix that up a bit, try and keep a full back guessing. Is he going to go inside or is he going to go outside? I think he can be a really useful player for us. I was pleasantly surprised by his performance today. I think he deserves some credit. Looks as if he tired maybe a wee bit, and maybe the plan was always to try and give Cherney the last 30 minutes of the game, but I think he can be well pleased with his night's work. I thought it was a very decent shift from him.
Yeah, 100% agree. Martin, can we hear from Clement? I was just about to play Clement after Ian answered until Wilf cut us off. Nothing to do with me, not my fault. Wilf cut us off. So yeah, let's hear from the manager and let's hear what he had to say after tonight's draw.
Philippe, a late equaliser here tonight. Is it what you feel your side deserved from that performance?
For sure. If you look at the stats, we had 6 balls on target. They had 3. Cyriel was unlucky before that in the game because he had several good finishes but good saves of the goalkeeper, who was also a goalkeeper of national team. Of course, it's a team with a lot of qualities, like they showed against Partizan with this 9-2. So I think in the phase we are in with the rebuild and what the players are showing, it's again the step forward that I wanted, and it's a really important result. And I hope the fans go behind these players so hard that next week they can make so much noise to push us over to qualify, and that they can make so much noise that the roof comes off of Hampden Park instead of Ibrox.
What was your message to the players at half-time? You made a change at that point, and obviously the subs came on in the second half and made a difference too.
Was it really important that in moments we did really good pressing, but in moments also not, so to make that better, and it was much better. In the second half also to be more calm on the ball, to keep more overview. We lost a few balls too easy in the first half, and then you get every time these transitions, and they are lethal in that, with a lot of pace and a lot of quality. And to find the right spaces, so we showed images about all of that, and that we had to keep on pushing, and that also, and what is every time with fresh players coming in, they can make the difference when other players are getting tired for the other team. And this is the mentality we need to recreate. What was there already last season, but we need to recreate with all the squad together. That it's a job together, and sometimes one is starting, sometimes another one is starting, but they all do the job and they go hard.
You touched on next week a little bit there as well, but all still to play for, and it'll be a tie you're really looking forward to, I'm sure.
Yes, and yeah, you see, it's a really good team, and they've been playing 4 or 5 years together now, so they have a lot of automatism. So in that way, I'm really satisfied how the team is reacting already in this short time together to do a lot of things right. Of course, we can do several things better still, and that's to work on now this coming week towards this game. But we have also a competition game in between. I don't know if Kyiv will have one. They had a free weekend now before this game, and you saw still at the end they physically struggled. So I'm curious if they're going to play in the weekend or not. Probably not, but we will do our job in our way.
Just quickly on that point, AJ, because there's a few things there I want to take. But he mentioned there about, will Kyiv get another break before the next fixture? At this point in the season, is that a benefit, having that game off? Because if we had, say for instance, right, and this is a laugh, I know, the SFA or the SPFL or whoever makes a decision says to Rangers, by the way, you don't need to play that Hearts game if you don't want to. Would you have been more or less comfortable going into this game having not played that Hearts game?
No, I'd rather we were playing.
I've certainly always found in previous, I've never really got that when we're screaming for breaks between European games. Now, we know this, if they aren't going to give us that.
If you're going into a Europa League final, AJ, for example, in Manchester, and you've got a fixture pile up, then by all means,
yeah,
give us a
different
break.
story. Absolutely. But in terms of this stage of the season, we need to be playing. We need to get into some kind of rhythm. So, no, I wouldn't be looking for a break. I think Kyiv have got a fixture on Friday, whether or not they've got a chance of getting that rescheduled. But no, just the comments came up there, was exactly what I was about to say. We need all the time playing football we can. We need to get boys up to speed. It's clear that if you are not much fit, and I guess that's what influenced the selection tonight, the team lineup, it didn't fill us a much hope, maybe. But we certainly need to be playing games, I would say.
Oh. Sorry, I muted myself and then unmuted myself and got a bit confused. My apologies, AJ. He mentioned there, Ian, as well, he was showing the players clips at half-time, right? I don't think anybody could sit here and say that we didn't look better in the second half. And again, that's not me sitting here saying, all right, we got a 1-1 draw. Everything's rosy. The garden's beautiful. There's no snakes at the apple tree, right? I'm not sitting here saying that. We did look a lot better in the second half. However, I still maintain that we are really, really struggling, I think, to create consistently clear-cut chances.
We are struggling to create consistent clear-cut chances, as you say, because, again, we're not getting that settled play down the sides. We're not the wingers that the way he wants to play. I'm sure he wants to play with the wingers. I think, like I said, I've said previously that you saw that last season. He wants to play with wingers at speed and wide. And every time we get into that position, a winger gets injured or it's Scott Wright. And then so he made a tactical change at halftime by bringing Jeff Day on to take Scott Wright's place and play him in front of Yilmaz. And we've seen from pre-season that Jeff Day going forward is decent. And he can cross a ball in, and he put some blinding crosses in tonight as well. So he, I saw just in Ian Thompson's comment, and it threw me. He made the tactical changes at halftime. He could see something was wrong. He's shown the players what he thinks he needs to. They need to be doing from what happened in the first half, and they pretty much executed it superbly for down the left-hand side, especially I thought in the second half.
And again, I feel, Stuart, as if I need to keep repeating myself and saying this, because some people do get offended if you get, I don't know, if you're in a positive mindset when the garden is still not rosy, right? And I feel the need to qualify what I'm about to say by saying that. But however, I'm really happy with the response in the second half. We did create some chances, but I still feel as if, we could create so many more opportunities for Dessers or Danilo or whoever plays up front. And I thought that Dessers had an excellent game tonight. I still feel as if there's one or two occasions, Stuart, where he's falling to the ground when he doesn't have to. But I thought in terms of bullying the centre-backs, in terms of holding the ball up, and in terms of taking his chance, of course, I thought he was excellent. And even before we come to his goal, he had a header that people who aren't Dessers fans might say, well, he should have put it more in the corner and he would have scored. But I thought his all-round game tonight was excellent.
A couple of things on that. I think I was slightly nervous when we conceded the goal the period after it, because we've seen a Rangers team concede a goal and then concede a second quite shortly after it. So I was kind of pleased that we managed to get to half time. I think you're right in terms of, I always felt that we were in the game. If that makes sense. Yeah, you're right. We're not creating clear-cut chances. I don't think we're working goalkeepers quite enough at the moment. But yes, I thought Dessers was, maybe we wouldn't go as far as saying excellent, but I thought he had a decent game. I thought in general, his hold-up play. I thought he won his fouls at times, which was really important. So I think there was one period where they were building a wee bit of pressure on us. He managed to hold it up, defender fouls him, and then he gets us up the park and just gives the defence a bit of respite. There was also a time where he had a lovely layoff quite late on. He played it out to Jeffrey. So the header, by the way, I don't think there's much more he can do with that. That's a really difficult chance. I think he's done well. He's got to generate. He's going away from goal and got to generate quite a lot of the power and direction on it. That. So I think that's a decent effort and a decent enough save. So yeah, look, again, I think he's another one that can be happy with his night's work. He's never going to be the flavour of the month for certain people, but see if we get through next week. And if Dessers ends up leaving or whatever it is, he's played his part in actually repaying his transfer fee, and just with this tie. So, I think, again, being slightly positive, and I said to the guys during our wee break there, positivity doesn't mean that you're not aware that there are still things not quite right with this Rangers team and this Rangers squad and how we're playing. You can think both things at the same time there, and Dessers falls into that category. He will do some things that frustrate, but he's popped up with a big goal tonight. So again, another one that can be happy with his night's work, I think.
And can I just say before I forget, actually, Charles, if you're watching, I haven't seen you in the comments yet. In that previous stream that we were doing there, you put a super chat in, buddy, and I didn't get a chance to read what it said. So if you're watching, don't put the same super chat in. Just put in a comment. The first comment that you put in, I will bring it up, mate, because I apologise for that. And if you're not watching this, then Wolf Marshall, have a go at him. I'll give you his email address, and you can give him a wee email. Before I come to yourself, AJ, Alan, many of us actually went to the game, and many of us actually played football in professional circumstances, none. So, F up. I think you'll find, Alan, actually, that I'm one of the only people that I know. I was at Mount Florida Primary, and I was the goalkeeper, and I get transferred to Battlefield Primary, and that's a true story, for a transfer fee. And I think I'm the only person that's ever happened to. So I think that qualifies me to talk about football. All right, I was in Primary 6. But I still think that counts. It's a podcast, Alan. Our comments mean nothing in the wider scheme of things. So don't get too annoyed at people having their opinion. That's what this is for. Everybody to have their opinion. AJ, Dessers gets a lot of stick, and a lot of the time, rightly so, for the chances that he misses. But I think in a game like this, I think you have to kind of stand up and go, he didn't stop running all night. Most of the things that he done were pretty spot on, and he's probably the only striker at our club who could have done the job tonight that he done away from home in Europe.
Aye, his work rate was spot on. Took his goal well. He should have got a second, probably, if he did it, if it wasn't for a good save. I think he had a decent chance the first half as well. He's not a bad striker, but he doesn't get the service for starters. So I guess his problem is some of the big chances he's missed in the last couple of seasons. It's some of the big chances that he's missed.
I get that's never going to go away, but I think even if he never plays well again, AJ, sorry, you have to give credit where credit's due.
Absolutely, yeah. And I know we're talking about him possibly going in this window, but I definitely wouldn't want him to leave. I would definitely be keeping him, even if it was his sub-striker. He can find the back of the net. It's almost if you don't give him time to think, he'll do it. He'll finish it. So I think it's about getting that service things. You see the ball from Jeremy, Dessers goal, finished. So I think it's getting him service. I guess before he scored, the reality was probably screaming for Danilo and wondering why he's not getting minutes. The money was spent on him, but Dessers worked his socks after the end, and he got a reward, and he deserved his goal. Even A2 tonight.
It's very difficult, Ian.
Martin, it's no fluke. It's no fluke that he keeps finding himself in these positions.
No, it's true.
That's not a fluke. Yes, we can comment on his ability, his finishing ability, etc. That's absolutely fine. But he's got something about him that he's in the right place at the right time, and that's no fluke that's happening.
No, I 100% agree with you. KW's asking who paid the transfer. It was the Battlefield coach. It was a pint and a packet of, I want to say, at the time it was Discos. It was a packet of Discos. And that's a true story, an absolute true story. Ian, it's very difficult, right, to sit here and say, why didn't the manager bring on Danilo? Why did Danilo not get any time when Dessers pops up with a goal? And even at the time, I wasn't necessarily thinking if Danilo comes on, it's going to be for Dessers. My thought process, well, initially, and we are going to discuss Conor Barron, folks, right? Absolutely. My initial thought when who came on? My head's gone blank. Who came on for Barron? Dujon Sterling. Sorry, my head went completely blank there. When Sterling came on, my thought was he'll bring off Lawrence, he'll push up Diomande, and he'll put Sterling in beside Barron. But even if we were going to bring Danilo on, for me it would have been for Lawrence, and Danilo would have been playing off of Dessers. But should we be worried now that that's 2 games and Danilo has got precisely 0 minutes?
It is a little worrying because I think people have said it pre now that if he was scheduled to return at the end of last season, maybe possibility of taking part in one of the last games of the season. That didn't happen. Then he's had all summer to get fit, and he did play in the pre-season friendlies. He was getting minutes in the pre-season.
That's the worry for me, and it's the fact that he has been getting minutes,
and then all of a sudden,
in Kyiv and nothing.
I mean, my train of thought was the same as yours. It's not. I wouldn't have wanted to take Dessers off because he was tying up their centre halves. He was making them work. He was getting cheap free kicks and all the rest of it. So I just, I'm with you. I'd have brought him on, and as Lawrence did tire towards the end, it was a strange one that out of the 3, he was the one that survived the entire game. So yeah, that would have been an option, and to see how Dessers and Danilo work together as a partnership. So yeah, for me, it is a worry that we're not seeing Danilo at all in any way, shape, or form coming on the pitch, considering we've spent a large chunk of change on him, and is not to give Clement a reputation, but is Danilo another one that's going to find himself playing in the B team next week?
You just never know. Stuart, on a massive positive, right? I'm probably right up there with the very last minute goal for me is the fact that Conor Barron, that's 2 games now, albeit none of them are wins, right? I get that. But that's 2 games now where Conor Barron has come in and looked as if he's been at our football club for years. He has settled in so well. And for me, and if you disagree, please tell me, that's 2 games in a row now. He's been by far our best player.
Yeah, he was excellent again tonight. And I think we talked about this on Sunday night, didn't we? That he looks as if he's been there for a while. He's just slotted in seamlessly with it. Him and Diomande seem to have struck up quite a good relationship and partnership in there. I think they could be doing with a bit more help at times. They do sometimes feel as if they're a little bit exposed in that. But again, we know that, and I'm hopeful that that's a kind of that number 6, whether that's a Raskin or whatever, that will come to the fore, or somebody else that comes in to that position. But yeah, he's brought a much needed energy to the middle of the park, where I think last season we just seemed so static at times. He's just got that. He covers the ground well. Looks if he reads the game. Been slightly surprised by, I think and this is maybe me just being a wee bit unfair on it, in terms of, I think he surprised me how good he is actually on the ball as well. I think he's better. It looks if he's got a good range of passing as well. I think there was a couple of times today where we almost got ourselves into bother, particularly in that first half, when it's clear he's looking for options and it's not quite there, and then we've had to play the ball backwards, and then we're going towards our own goal. So he's looked excellent. I know a lot of people were, why are we taking him off, etc. I genuinely think the manager it's just got a bit of a panic at the moment that if anything happens to Barron or Diomande, then what the hell have we got in the middle of the park come Saturday and then going into next week? So I think there's an element of trying to protect them and the number of minutes that they're having to get through at the moment. But yeah, I'm excited to see how he progresses, because he's certainly made a very decent start to his Rangers career.
And AJ, albeit like Stuart says, we don't have a lot of numbers in that area, but even if we bring in one or two, he's certainly cemented himself as one of the first names on the team sheet, surely.
Absolutely. I've been very pleased with how he's played. Echo comment Stuart, but put there.
Can I change that slightly and ask you actually a wee bit of a more difficult question? If you don't mind, AJ.
Go for it.
All right. Jackson Barron's a lot better than Raskin. Has Connor Barron come in and made an almost immediately better impression than Nico Raskin?
I would say so.
Is it still too early?
Although I think Raskin kind of came in a few games and made a good impression, got injured, and then came back and was nowhere near the level. So I don't want to get too excited too quick on Barron, but for the 2 games so far, I've been really impressed. Somebody his age as well, coming in for Aberdeen and controlling at midfield. He seems like a good replacement for Jack, albeit we've probably not had Jack playing for like 2 seasons now, and probably played about 20 games in the last 3 years. But yeah, I mean, I'm more positive in him than I am in Raskin. Raskin looked a bit slow for my liking, certainly since coming back from injury. So yeah, Barron, great addition. I just feel he wasn't supported well in midfield, along with Diomande and Lawrence, who I didn't even notice Lawrence was playing till about 65 minutes, to be honest.
Oh, don't say that in front of Stuart. Don't say that in front of Stuart. Jeez, we'll be here at midnight if you say that in front of Stuart. I mean, I don't know if that's maybe slightly an unfair question, seeing as he's only 2 games in. But just with a nod of the head or a shake of the head, guys, if Barron was fully fit and Raskin was fully fit, who would you have in your team? Would you have Barron? Raskin?
Can I have both?
I mean, you could, but
by the way, I'd quite like to see Barron alongside Raskin in there. You could push Diomande further forward into the 10.
I think better there, sure.
Yeah, potentially. You know, I think there is. I don't think the manager's going to go away from this 4-2-3-1. I think he wants a 10. I'm not sure. I think there's games at the moment where we could probably maybe do without it and you know, maybe just shore things up. But I wonder, having a Barron beside him actually improves Nico Raskin potentially, because I think Barron's ability to get about the pitch and his energy would also support Raskin in there. I actually think that could be quite an exciting 3 that you could build in there. So, you know, I just feel for Raskin. Again, I was just really hoping that a full pre-season and then to get that tackle and that injury, it's just set him back a wee bit, and that's my slight concern. Do we see the Raskin that we've seen there, where he's just struggling to get back up to speed? But I would quite like to see both of them. I think that could be interesting.
I'm going to come to you in a second, Ian, about Diomande's performance tonight, but I'm going to stick with you, Stuart, because member for 17 months, Mark Doyle. Lawrence shouldn't start in the middle of the park. He is not as effective as he is in the number 10. Your thoughts, because Stuart, you said, I think it was in the members show, maybe you said that you were a wee bit miffed at the criticism that Lawrence got on a reaction. What was your thoughts on Lawrence tonight? Again, 1 or 2 good moments, but for me, and please tell me if I'm wrong, largely anonymous for me.
Yeah, but again, I think it's about getting Tom Lawrence involved in the game in the areas of the park where Tom Lawrence can impact it. And are we doing that enough? Now, in the opening 2 minutes, Ridvan plays a great ball, Dessers lays it off, and then you've got Tom Lawrence steaming onto the ball with that shot from 20-25 yards. that's the areas of the park that he influences games, and he can. I think in games where potentially we are not controlling the ball as much, and there were times that happened tonight, then does he have the legs to really support then your Diamande and Barron? And that's what I was talking about earlier. I think at times, sometimes the lead, it feels as if they just feel a wee bit exposed because Lawrence just doesn't have the legs to be able to get up and down the park. The positive I'm taking from Tom Lawrence at the moment is that's 290 minutes in a row. I wasn't sure we would see that from Tom Lawrence. I can't remember the last time he actually played 90 minutes, never mind two in a row. So I thought there was a wee bit of criticism after the Hearts game, which I thought was a bit harsh because I thought he did some good things in the game. I thought there was flashes of good things in the game. But going back to what we'd said before, we're not creating enough, and I don't think we're getting players like Lawrence into the positions where he can really impact the game enough at the moment. I think if we had more options, either if Sterling was fully fit, if Raskin has been fit, I wonder if Clement would have maybe went a wee bit more solid in the midfield this evening. But again, I think just numbers-wise, I think we're struggling in there, and that's why Lawrence started.
Sorry, I'm going to come straight back to you with that then, Stuart. Is it not then Lawrence's job to get the ball? You're saying that he doesn't get the service, but how many times did we see Barron and Diamande in the middle of the park, especially Diamande moving forward, and Lawrence was nowhere to be seen?
I understand what you're saying there, but it's about getting the ball to Tom Lawrence, and are we then expecting Tom Lawrence to come so deep to try and get the game, influence the game? Then I think that's where you're nullifying the impact that he can have. We need to be able to move the ball quicker on the deck, faster up the park to hopefully then get him in space. And that's what we did in that chance in the opening 2 minutes. That was quick football. Got it out to Ridvan. He drives forward, great ball in, Dessers layoff, and there's Tom Lawrence. If we're then giving Tom Lawrence the ball in the middle of the park, then I think you're negating some of the skill set that he can. I think he's a really clever footballer. He's just lost some of that ability to run across the pitch for 90 minutes. So I think we need to alter our game. If he's playing, I think we need to alter our approach and get him involved further up the park where he can really influence it.
Well, yeah, I think there's maybe some who'll agree and some who'll disagree, and that is the great thing. That's the great thing about podcasts and shows. We all have differences of opinion. Ian, give me your thoughts on Diamande tonight. He showed for me a bit more of an aggression in his performance.
Definitely some more aggression in his performance tonight. His decision making, he needs to improve his decision making. There were some times where he put himself into trouble when he didn't need to, when there was a simpler ball on to create more space for him to do what he actually wanted to do. If he was thinking ahead of, trying to think of things he could do to implement the play, but it wasn't going off. I thought at certain times tonight he was a little bit hot and cold, but when he was hot, he did really good things. He's still young. He's moved to a country with different philosophy on how they play the game. I mean, he's a quality. You can see he's a quality player. There's more in there for him. I just think his decision making needs to be better. But overall, I thought he played really well tonight. But it's just his decision making needs to be improved.
Do you think, AJ, if, like Stuart says, the manager's going to stick with this 4-2-3-1, right? And I've said this 1,000 times, and Alan Watson will love this. I'm no tactical guy. I'm no tactical genius. If I play Football Manager, I download tactics, right? That's how much of a tactical man I am. But for me, it just seems the way that Diamande wants to play the game. I think he would be so much more effective for us if he played in that number 10 role.
I'm glad to see I'm not the only cheated Football Manager then. It's tactically, I'm not great either, so I have to do the same. Yeah, I know it does seem he would be better in that number 10 role, definitely. I just feel we need something else in there in midfield. I feel we're just missing something. Thought Barn was great, and I thought I think, yeah, like Ian said, Diamonde's decision making is probably what was more cost them today. But you certainly got that aggression and fight in him. I think he would probably suit the number 10 role better. I just feel we need somebody different Ed to come in and partner with Barron. Maybe try and Raskin might work. Like Stuart says, obviously he's out at the minute, but I just think we need another signing for in that midfield. Also, we need another centre half. Probably need another striker. So we need something everywhere. So
there's plenty that we need. There's absolutely plenty that we need. But Cherny as well, Ian. I'll come back to you for this because I've got a question that I want to put to Stuart in a wee minute. Cherny came on again, looked off the pace. If we're being brutally honest, touches weren't great. But when you have quality, regardless of how match fit you are, when you have quality, it can always shine. And if the manager doesn't bring Cherny on, we probably don't have somebody in that position putting in what was a phenomenal inch-perfect cross for Dessers.
Now, this is where it gets proven why Clement sits where he sits and I sit where I sit, because I was all for Cherny has to start. If he's fit enough to go, he starts. And it was obvious that he's not quite up to speed yet. So maybe we just need to listen to Clement just a little bit more than we have been when it comes to that sort of thing. But you can tell what type of player he is. I like the fact he was direct. Every time he got the ball, he just got it down, ran, tried to. We can think he's at that left-footed. He's going to try and get into that left foot. But I mean, you've got seconds remaining. It's easy just to let the ball go out or feel like you're tired and all the rest of it. He gets that ball back, gets it onto his. He's allowed to get onto his left foot by the defender, and he gets that ball in. And my God, what a ball that was! That is putting the ball into that corridor of uncertainty, as they like to say. And Dessers with an absolutely brilliantly timed run just to get something on it and put it into that corner. It was a brilliant goal. And I don't think the goal's going to get enough credit due to all the positive negativity that people are picking out of the game tonight. But that goal was brilliant.
How many times have we looked across the city at last-minute goals that have made a massive difference for them and said, when are we going to start doing that? And at least we've seen glimpses now that we can, in fact, do that. And Stuart, the manager, has came under quite a lot of criticism. And to my mind, personally, I think a lot of it has been justified. Not all of it, but a fair bit of it. And Andy puts in the comment here that the manager tonight deserves a lot of credit for his changes. The only thing he got wrong was starting Scott Wright, but he changed the weakness at half time. Now, because there has been so much negativity, Stuart, I think that sometimes giving people credit when it's due gets lost in amongst the noise. But we've went away in Europe with a team that isn't really fully his, and he's made changes during that game, and we've came away with a positive result.
Yeah, look, at the end of the day, I would like to think people would be big enough, if they've been out criticising the manager, can front up and say, well, do you know what? Yep, there's a bit of credit deserved there, because, as we said right at the start, this is a decent result. There's been better teams than this Rangers team, who probably haven't got results in Europe like we have tonight. So he absolutely deserves the credit for that. We might all have, and even Wilf was talking about, the fans in the stadium would have been making changes. So, would Cherny be on? Would Dessers be on to be there to get the goal? Maybe not. So he's stuck by it, and he's got the result that I think we deserved tonight, and it is a very decent result. So yeah, it's the nature of it. We're in a situation at the moment where, and I think we touched on this on Sunday night as well, we've asked for this. We have asked for this overhaul, and I just think fans need to realise that it's not going to be perfect at the moment. We've just got to trust that, if we can get through this tie, there's extra money coming in, and if we can start shipping some players out the door, that hopefully we've got the replacements lined up, or the players that the manager wants, and then we start to see that style of play develop. And we just dig out results at the moment until we get to that. So it's I know he probably won't get it. I think there is a bit of patience needed, and there's certainly some credit deserved for tonight.
Yeah, and I think that will then do us for tonight. My apologies, folks, for the cut-off. All Wilf Marshall's fault. 100% Wilf Marshall's fault. I was actually still talking, and the guys went, "Martin, we're not even live. What are you talking? Why, stop talking. We're not live." I didn't even notice. So thank you so much to everybody who tuned in. Thank you so much to everybody who put in a super chat, everybody who put in a comment, everyone who likes and subscribes to help support the channel. Absolutely fantastic, and I couldn't thank you more. Loads of people saying sack Martin. See if I could sack myself, I absolutely would. You can, of course, if you want, become a member and get access to extra content as well. The join button below the window, or the link for that is in the description. Make sure you follow us on all our socials, all the links for which are in the description of both videos that will now be up. And people are going to click on this one first and then go back to the other one and go, well, that's back to front. But yeah, we'll be back on Thursday night for the members show. And then we'll be back on Friday for the Friday night podcast. And then on and on and on and on it goes. So Ian, Stuart, AJ, thank you very much for joining me tonight. Thank you, everybody who tuned in. Thank you, Wolf, for nearly ruining the show. And we'll speak to you all very, very soon.
Sports Social Podcast Network.